My next guest is a professional mixed martial artist from Hesperia, California. Currently, he's on an 8-fight winning streak, and you can catch his next fight at Cage Warriors 165 on December 15th in San Diego, California. He's the man they call the Green Light. Mr. Rob Hernandez joins me once again. Mr. Hernandez, thank you for being here, sir. It's always a pleasure to have you on this show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad we're here for the second time. And this time, hey, there's been a lot of talk, and I'm excited to talk about the talk.
Yes, sir. Well, we're definitely going to do that. Before we get into that, I have to talk about Cage Warriors 159, Toby Misech. Great fight. I watched it right before I hopped on here with you, and I have to tell you a few things that I saw. You worked the body excellent. That is exactly how you were able to put him away. I sensed him getting frustrated. He had a very difficult time hitting you with anything, and anytime he went into the pocket, he had to pay a price. Like your counter striking was excellent, and I just wanted to ask you, now that that fight is done and out of the way with, was that the plan to frustrate him and to counter strike with him?
Well, yes, the plan is always to frustrate your opponent. Obviously, when you do something right, it takes away something that they could do to you in the middle of the fight. And in this case, me and my coach we looked at his tape, and he left his body open a lot. So we were gonna stress the body early and don't give him a fight, but make him feel like he's gonna fight. So when he'll come in, he'll run into something. And footwork was the key, and body work, footwork and the body work. So I seen him getting a little bit carried, like coming in so hard. And I was like, all right, this is where I want him. This is where I want him. And sure enough, man, like his body was very presentable. He kept coming. I kept using my footwork, and yeah, we execute the game plan, and I ripped a nice body shot, and that was game over for Mr. Toby Misech.
Rob, I have to tell you, you tickled the belly pretty early on, and you were very effective. I couldn't really see a point in time where you really got touched with a whole lot. And one thing that did surprise me about Toby is like he would come in at you, he would throw like a 1-2, and then he'd do like that like wheel kick combination every single time. And like, did you sense that was taxing his energy as well?
Yes, I knew from the beginning. I already knew if I put that pressure on him and use my footwork to get in and out, make him feel like we're gonna fight, and then he'll bite, and then I'll get out. I knew he was gonna give out. I knew his cardio. He didn't make weight. He came in at 147. I accidentally made weight. They called me and they're like, "Hey, your opponent can't make weight. Can you come down here? We can make this a catch weight." And I told him, I was like, "Look, I'm gonna stop cutting weight. But if I'm on weight, I'm on weight." So I accidentally made weight, stepped on the scale. And usually when your opponent doesn't make weight, the body is very fragile.
Was what Toby was showing you in the first round more or less like exactly what you thought you would get?
Exactly what you just said. I knew that in the second round, it was going to be my round. The first round, I kind of let him, like, in a way, I'm letting him paint the picture, but I was really in control. But I was letting him feel like he was attacking. He was aggressive. He was more aggressive. But I was patient. I was just making my calculations, and I was like, okay, cool. And by the ending of that first round, that's when I started putting it on him, and I could feel him kind of like breaking spiritually, mentally. He was still trying to hit me, but I could feel him like, oh man, I'm in a fight right now. Like, this guy's pretty good. So coming the second round, I knew that I was just gonna all gas, green light, green light, green light, and it paid off.
Can you tell me, Rob, how you set up the finish exactly? Because it took me like 2 or 3 different times to catch it because the camera angle was a little weird. I wasn't sure if you hit him with like a left uppercut to the gut or if it was like a hook. Can you tell me what the punch was and how you set it up?
So throughout the first round, when I will pressure, I'll notice that he'll cover up like this. He'll keep covering up. He didn't like that, so he'll just cover up. So usually when a guy covers up, what's open is the sides right here because he's covering up. So I seen that, and I threw a 1-2, When I threw the 1-2, he did that, and I was like, okay, he's about to do this again. So then I switched it up. I did the 1-2-3. I hooked it. It was kind of like I would say, see, when people throw hooks and uppercuts, they just hit it, snap. I push it in. I push into the body, and when you push, it moves all the tendons, moves all the muscles, and it finds that liver. So that's how I found it. I threw the 1-2. He kept covering up, and then I was like, okay, he's giving me that. He's leaving me that opening, and I hit that. It's kind of like a hook uppercut. It's a both. It's a mixture of both, and I got it pinpoint clean. Couldn't have happened any better. And another thing, I didn't throw it hard. I just threw it with correct form. And when you throw things with correct form, you don't need power behind it. You punch it with your whole body now.
And he was like on a 3-second lag, and then it caught to him. And then as soon as he sank to his knees, it's like, okay, like the liver shut down. It's over. The fight's over. And you were right there, and you knew it too. We all knew it. And so I have to say, before we get into any of the other stuff, congratulations. Toby's a dangerous guy. He gives people a lot of problems. And for me, when I looked at this fight, I'm like, this is kind of like the De Jesus fight all over again. It's somewhat low risk, or I'm sorry, it's high risk, low reward for you. But you went out there and you got your job done yet again.
I believe in myself. At the end of the day, this is the 145-pound division. I feel good at 145. At that time, I still feel good at 145. But I just feel like my IQ is what sets me apart as well. I'm a guy that figures you out throughout the fight. I'm not going to just go balls and crazy like Toby Misech, and then hopefully I land something. I'm a fighter that fights with a plan, and I make the proper adjustments throughout the fight as it plays on. So that's what happened, and I'm glad, things worked out well for me.
Well, congratulations, sir. It was an impressive performance. And let's talk about in the aftermath of the fight. This is where shit's going to get juicy now. So for people that are new to you, people from England, people from Wales, whatever, Scotland, they're like, who is this dude? And like, you were out there calling out basically the entire featherweight division after that fight, saying like, yo, send me Jordan, send me Harilla, send me any of these guys. I'll fight all of them. Like, obviously, like, you sensed an opportunity. You start calling out these guys. Like, was that your plan kind of all along? Like, if this, like, once I get my hand raised, like, I'm putting everyone on notice.
Yes, the plan was always to go after the European fighters. I'm like an American, and I'm a winning American on the Cage Warrior side, and I got to represent my country. This is USA, and all the top guys, these are UFC material athletes. The people you mentioned, the Vucenics, who's the other guy, the Hardwick, who else? That he just won his belt recently. I called him Paul Hughes. Like, these guys are UFC caliber, fighters as far as skills. I want the big fights. I'm ready. I'm here. I want all the big fights. I want all the smoke with all of these featherweights. I'm Europe's featherweights most hated right now. So I'm here. But, unfortunately, we have other plans in our Mr. Paul Hughes didn't take the fight with me, or I don't know how that happened. Things went south. It's cool, whatever. He's afraid. He's a scary cat. So now I'm about to make my debut at the 135-pound division.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because a lot of people would look at you and be like, yo, like 145 pounds, like you're on an 8-fight winning streak. Why are we changing things up right now? But I would also say, like, I always kind of wondered, like, you're not the biggest 45er anyway. That's probably a natural weight class for you. And I was thinking to myself, like, 35 probably isn't a bridge too far for you. So were you kind of thinking to yourself, like, you know what, 35 is probably, in fighting terms, where I really should be?
Yes, my coach always told me, Joe Stevenson always told me, but I just needed the right nutritionist. I needed the right nutritionist to get to 135. I didn't want to do it. The last time I made 140 ended up bad for me. I fought, you already know who. I don't want to mention his name. And it was just, I didn't do it right. I was young. I was dumb. I made the mistakes. And now I'm here. Now I have an actual strength and conditioning coach, Sam Calavita. He's not just a strength and conditioning coach. This guy is like a genius. mathematician. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. And we ran the numbers, and I asked him, I was like, is it healthy for me to make it down to 135? And he said, yes, it's very doable. And just being with him has changed my cardio, gas tank. You know, being at 135, just making that weight, I have to do a certain amount of cardio activities to maintain it and stay at this weight healthy. And with that, I just feel bad for the 135-pound division, because at 145, I slacked off. You know, I always relied on my talent and IQ. I trained, but I didn't know. I thought I was training hard until I met Sam Calavita. Once I met Sam Calavita, I was like, oh, shoot, this is the real. Now this is training hard. So now that I got my world-class cardio behind me, my skills, I feel like I'm the most dangerous 135-pounder out there right now.
I know that you'll be fighting Trevin Jones, but if there was the right fight opportunity for you back at featherweight, would you go back for the right fight?
Yes, I'll go back. At the end of the day, you know, who doesn't want to be a 2-division champ? Who doesn't want to be a 2-division champ? I feel like at 145 with Sam Calavita, I could even be more dangerous than what I am already right now. But, you know, we're slowly getting down to 135. And right now, that's what's in the books for me. At 130, there's more opportunity. And I feel like the UFC, after this fight, hopefully, you know, if everything works out well, I should be fighting for a belt for Cage Warriors at 135, or I should be getting a phone call from the UFC. One of these two. These are the only two options I'm looking at. And so to answer your question, yes, but if it's for a belt at 145.
Completely understand. So the man ahead of you, regardless, to get either a Cage Warriors bantamweight title opportunity or an opportunity with the UFC, that is going to involve beating Trevin Jones next month on December 15th. Now, Trevin Jones, he's a guy that we've all seen this guy fight for a long time. And I look at him, he's got a 14-10 record. Again, not a pretty record, but he's a guy that's fought against some of the best guys. I think a lot of people are a little dismissive of him. He probably doesn't get a lot of respect, but I look at it and I see a guy that's pretty tough. I see a guy that's really hard to put away. Only 2 guys have ever finished him, and it was both by submission. So when I look at him, it's like, okay, well, you know what? He doesn't have a pretty record, but I would put him in the same category as John De Jesus. Like, again, you're talking about a guy that is probably slept on a lot, but if you don't mind your P's and Q's, he's going to hurt you. Tell me about what do you see, Rob, when you look at Trevin Jones?
When I see Trevin Jones, I see a has-been. I see a has-been that's still hungry, that's trying to make it, but he don't got it. The skills, he lacks skills. You know, he thought he was that guy. He got to the big show and realized that he wasn't that guy. And now that he's in Cage Warriors, he beat another guy that's, you know, he's an older guy. You know, he got some confidence, but you know, you ain't find a young guy like me. You know, you ain't. How old is Reese? Wilson Reese? He's like, I don't know, 38. I'm 30. The skill, my skills, my explosiveness, my IQ, like I'm gonna be a big problem for you, and you're gonna find out in the middle of the fight. He's gonna find out in the middle of the fight that I'm gonna be a big problem for him. But at the end of the day, I just don't. He's hungry, but he just don't have the skills to. He don't have the skills either to beat me. I feel like my qualities are too much for him, and he's gonna find out.
When you look at Trevin, like, obviously you're the type of guy that, like, you go for finishes. Like, that's who you are. And we've talked about that. Even when we aren't recording, you're like, yo, like, I'm going to, like, knock you out or I'm going to choke you out. But, like, you don't fight for 15 minutes. Like, that's you come out really calculated and you come out very patient. But I know every single time you go out there to fight, it's to put your opponent away. Obviously, we look at Jones. A lot of people haven't had success in doing so. Like, obviously, you're confident. Like, you go out there and you're like, you know what? I know I can put this guy away. What is going to be the key to put somebody like him away when not a lot of people have done that in the past?
The key is this guy. He's another patient fighter. He's like me. You know, he's a patient fighter. But the thing with him and me, the difference is when someone pressures him and he shows his counter ability, they get scared and they're okay with letting the fight play out for 15 minutes like that because they don't want to make that mistake. I know how to fight guys like that because I'm that same guy. I'm him, but I'm a way better version than him. So I know exactly what to do and how to address these problems that he's going to produce for me. So that's what I see. I have the same style that he has. I'm a counter fighter with good grappling skills, but the difference is I'm a way better counter fighter, and I know how to approach him way better than he's going to approach me. I already know what's going to happen. Like the fight's going to break down. He's going to be backing up, and I'm going to just keep pressuring him intelligently, and he's going to find out in the middle of the fight, like, wait, this guy, he knows exactly what I'm doing. He's going to start falling apart mentally, and before I know it, he's going to make a mistake. I'm going to capitalize on it. I can't say because I already got some good, juicy game plan for him, and it's Trevin Jones, like, Mr. 0.5 star ratings. That's what you're going to give out on that night, on fight night.
Rob, when I think about you, what comes to mind is the striking. I mean, that's what you've been showing lately, but I also know you're a very high-level grappler, and I know you're a jiu-jitsu black belt as well. If the fight goes to the canvas, do you feel that, like, you're miles above him in the jiu-jitsu department as well?
Yes. Another thing, too, I don't get to showcase my grappling skills, and the reason why I didn't showcase a lot of my grappling skills is because I didn't have the cardio for it. I'm going to be honest with myself. Like, I always trained. I thought I trained hard, but when I'm in the middle of the fight, I look at my gas tank, and I see two routes. If I go this grappling route, I may get some submission attempts, but if I don't get them, it's over for me. Like, my cardio gas tank's not going to keep up anymore. But if I go this striking route and I put him into this type of intelligent, he has to come in, I have enough breathing time to, make my adjustments. So that's why I never grappled in all my other fights. But this time I got a gas tank on me. So my grappling, there's going to be some cool scrambles in this fight. I feel like there is going to be some cool scrambles, and I just might catch him in the middle of my scrambles.
Rob, you're very talented, a very exciting fighter to watch, but I still feel like there are a lot of people, especially, outside of the West Coast area, that haven't really seen you perform before. So for everyone that's going to be tuning in to Cage Warriors 165, and if this is their very first green light performance, like, what can they expect to see when you fight Trevin?
So when you see Cage Warriors December 15th, you're going to see me put him into this smart pressure. I'm going to pressure him very smart, and he's going to panic, and he's going to make a mistake, and I'm going to capitalize on his mistakes. You're going to expect excitement. You're going to see IQ behind it. I'm not fighting just to fight. There's a lot of reaction fighters, that just fight, give you guys exciting fights, but because they're both dumb fighters and they're both giving you that action. I'm going to give you that action, but it's going to be one-sided traffic all the way. And all I can say is expect entertainment. I'm going to be talking in the middle. Oh my gosh, like, guys, you guys just don't understand. This guy, he thinks on paper is on my level, but he's not on my level. And I'm going to show him that he's a C+ level fighter. That's what he is. He found that out. Come on, 4 fights in the you got to the UFC just to get there. That's it. That's all you did with it. You did nothing else. And you think that because I've been fighting outside, I've been around the block, I've been around in the room with world champions. I know where my skill set is, and every time I look at his fight tape, I get more and more confident. Sometimes I'm like, man, and then I get a little bit worried, and then I start thinking about situations. Then I go look at his fight tape, and then I'm just confident again because he just doesn't got it. I see it, and I get a chance to prove it on December 15th that this guy was made to lose to me.
Well, Rob, I look forward to watching you perform, sir, next month. And if you had a message for anybody out there, if there's anyone that you wanted to thank, I'm going to give you the mic, and I'm going to be quiet for a couple minutes.
I want to give a shout out to ATM Builds. They sponsored me. I want to give another shout out to American Security Force. Thank you for sponsoring me. Thank you, Essential Buildings Homes. Thank you for sponsoring me. I got a lot of sponsorship behind me this fight, and I feel very blessed. You know, God is working here, and I know, you know, I love to talk trash, but at the end of the day, you know, this is a sport, and you know, this is what gets me going. Me talking trash to my opponent and him talking back. That's what wakes me up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning to go hit my runs, to go hit my cardio workouts. Because if that's not involved, are you really training hard? Do you really want to get yours? You know, he just talked. Do you like? I don't know. I grew up in a place where, you know, you talk trash and you get, you know, you get paid. You pay for it. So I'm December 15. I can't wait to showcase that. And Trevin Jones is gonna be a 0.5-star ratings after I'm done with you, bro. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, if you've stuck around this long, I'm going to slip in one bonus question. So that's why you should pay attention when my fighters talk about their sponsors. It's very important. So here's a bonus question to everyone that's stuck around. Rob, give me your dream fight. If there's somebody out there that you could fight in Cage Warriors right now, whether it be for a featherweight belt or for a bantamweight belt, like, I want to know from you, like, when you look at the entire roster on Cage Warriors, there's a ton of really.
I want Paul Hughes.
You want Paul Hughes,
Irish boy, hiding behind Cage Warriors, hiding behind Conor McGregor. I want Paul Hughes. At the end of the day, that was the first guy I wanted, and he just doesn't give me that. He doesn't. He's just this. You're boring, bro. That's why you never got signed to the UFC, bro. Because you're boring. You have no personality. You may have some skills. You know, it was a cute little performance he had last time, but that's my dream fight. Paul Hughes, just take all his fan base, take all his steam, take all his momentum. Let this little Mexican over here from United States and California. Just, I'm telling you, man, Europe's gonna hate me after this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you tune in to Cage Warriors 165 to watch Mr. Hernandez perform. Rob, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.